Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my Luigi's Mansion 100% run. A little nervous because I have to follow up from Scooby-Doo, which just looked like a pretty spooky game. So before I start my run, I'm going to do a little glitch that's going to save a bit of time for us here. So we do this by accessing the training room and see if I can do this in one go. So I wait till I get to this dialog box, and I'm going to initiate a reset and mash A and Y at the same time. And so the screen cut to black, which means it should have worked. And we can verify this by going to just the normal mansion. And if I press Y, it's not going to activate the map. I'm assuming people next to me can verify this, that I'm pressing Y and nothing's happening. So, all right. I'll talk about what I just did with that glitch after I start. So I guess we can get this party started in 3, 2, 1, go. So we're just going to start out by going up here. So since this is Hidden Mansion, we don't have to start with the opening cutscene of the game. So we're going to put out these candles and activate this cutscene. So this is just kind of, the paintings are haunted and Luigi's getting a little scared. So the ghosts are going to show up in a little bit. Oh, I dropped him. Okay. I have to get used to the CRT. Where'd he go? There he is. Okay. Now that, make sure that doesn't happen again. Okay. Alright. Sorry. Alright. So the map glitch really takes effect when I start picking up these keys. So usually when you pick up a key, there's going to cue a map cutscene, which isn't going to happen because I disabled the map using that glitch from earlier. So we're just going to kind of keep going and clean up these rooms. Hold on a sec. Alright. So wait for this guy to show up again, sorry. So talk a little bit about, I guess, the objectives of the game. So this is 100%. So the categories that we have determined to actually 100% the game are to catch all the boos, which are going to show up later. Catch all the portrait ghosts, which I'll talk about later as well. And we'll also have to pick up a lot of money, which I'll talk about when I have a minute. So you'll notice I'm trying to set up to catch 2 ghosts at a time. Just a small optimization to try and finish a little faster. So I can't immediately catch the key, so I'm going to line up my vacuum and try and catch it as it lets me. So I just kind of back up and I wait 4 seconds, and then the key I can start catching it. So just to elaborate, I guess, on the conditions for 100%. So 1 is to catch all 23 portrait ghosts, which we're going to encounter our first one in a bit. To catch all 50 boos, which we'll encounter later on as well. So the money requirement, which I might have mentioned earlier, is we need to catch 100 million of whatever monetary units this game is using. So you can keep track of how much of these things I'm collecting in the bottom right corner. So that was our first portrait ghost. Kind of underwhelming. All you have to do is wait for him to yawn, and you can catch him. So usually there's some sort of gimmick that you have to do for each portrait ghost, which is kind of unique. And so we're going to go catch the next one, which is Lydia. So essentially all I have to do is open the curtain, and she's going to go try and close the curtain, but we're just going to catch her real quick. That was alright, I guess. I want to catch that one. So a bit about just kind of how much money I want to be collecting here. So the pearls are dropped by the large ghosts, and if you one cycle them, you get a large pearl, which is worth 1 million of the monetary units this game is using. I'll call it gold, even though not all the things that count as money are gold. So we want to get as many large pearls as we can, so we can get one from each portrait ghost. So this is the first boss ghost, Chauncey. So he's going to talk to us in a foreign language, and then we're going to initiate the boss fight. So he shrinks us down and throws us in his crib, I guess, and we're going to duke it out. Luigi's looking pretty scared. I know I am. I don't know about any of you, but getting a little spooky. So essentially the two elements of this fight are he's going to send these rocking horses that are going to come at me from the front. So like this. So the next part is he's going to send these bouncing balls at me. And so I'm going to try and catch it right as it spawns. Like that. Okay, dropped him at 55. That should be okay. So Chauncey is... you would two-cycle to Chauncey because so far it has not been possible to one-cycle. Well, you can't one-cycle him. And I purposely dropped him at above 50 health because this cycle is faster than if I dropped him below 50. I got hit by that rocking horse on purpose, so I can use invincibility frames to stay down here. Okay, so I had a rough start, but this fight went pretty well, I think. So that was Area 1, kind of short compared to the other areas in the game. There are 4. So we're going to move on to Area 2 after we return these portrait ghosts to Professor Egad. So a bit about the dialogue boxes, I guess. So I'm playing on Japanese because it's faster to scroll through the dialogue boxes, like with most speed games. And there are some glitches that you can do in the Japanese version that were patched out in the US and PAL versions. In addition, I'm mashing through dialogue by repeatedly mashing A and B, but alternating. So Egad has this weird machine that smashes the ghosts back into their portraits from whence they came, I guess. So at the end of every area, you're going to get this little screen that says how much money you got and the portrait ghost that you got. So that pink key lets us unlock this front door, and we're going to move on to Area 2. So the reason I'm walking through the hallway like this is ghosts will spawn from both the ceiling and will just show up at random. So this reduces the probability of me getting spooked in the hallway, which loses time. So this room was supposed to introduce us to the grabber ghosts, but I kind of caught him really fast, so we didn't really have time to say hello. So basically the deal with the grabber ghost is they essentially grab Luigi, and you have to shake either the analog stick or the C stick to throw them off of you. So a strategy that runners like to use... Oh, I ran into a mouse. So a strategy that runners like to use is they'll throw one of the grabbers back into the other one and catch a double. So this is Shy Guys. I'll talk about this in a minute. So I missed one double, I guess. That's too bad. So if you talk to a lot of like the better runners of the game, they want to run this extremely optimally, which is a lot harder than it looks. So you want to get all 3 doubles and finish, and also do it quickly, which a lot of people tend to reset on this segment. I also got early release. I'm a little behind on my commentary. So early release is catching that pair of portrait ghosts early. And to elaborate on that, there's a 1/2 probability, I think it's half and half, that you'll be able to catch them immediately like I did. Otherwise, you have to wait like 10 seconds. Nice. Okay, I'm a little surprised at how well this room went based on my practice sessions. Normally what would happen is there will be a poster covering that switch on the wall if you see it in the back. So what I did was I went into the back corner, and the hitboxes kind of work just so that you can pull the poster off while the room isn't finished. Normally you'd have to walk up to the poster and vacuum it up before you press the switch. So here are the boos. These guys are a big source of RNG in this game. And I'll talk a little bit about how we catch them later on, because the way you catch them is a little different than you would portrait ghosts or regular ghosts. So I'm going to mash through some more dialogue. Professor Egad really likes to talk. I think it's because he's old. Just had to make sure I didn't accidentally navigate through the menu too fast, otherwise I would have selected the wrong option. Alright, so the boos essentially hide in the furniture of the rooms that you already, the furniture and rooms that you've already lit up. So there's usually like a predetermined set of furniture that you're allowed to search, and they'll be hiding in them. But they usually hide in one set of furniture in each room than the others, so you'd normally go there first. Okay, he wasn't in there. And he wasn't in there, so there's also a poison mushroom in there instead, which I never really talked about. Oh, okay. That wasn't good. We'll go back and get him later, actually. So the poison mushroom, which I've kind of demonstrated by accident, shrinks Luigi. And so you can't really do anything until he goes back to normal size. Okay, he's in here, the shoe rack, which I probably should have searched first. So I'm going to go back and catch that one guy, because I don't want to deviate too much from my normal route. Usually, if you catch all 3 boos, you would normally use the mirror to... There he is. I'm surprised I got him like that. One thing you'll notice is there's a little blinking light on the bottom right of my screen, and that indicates whether or not there might be a boo in there. I went the wrong way. Sorry. All right, so the blinking light. There's a blue light on the top of my Game Boy. If you're in a room where there's a boo in it, it'll be yellow, and it'll continue to blink more when you're closer to a piece of furniture with a boo in it. So if it's blinking red, then you usually search the furniture, and either the boo will spawn or it'll be a trap, which is usually a ball or a bomb. So I'm going to catch the guy in here, hopefully. So overall, I did an alright job of getting the boos. They spawned usually in the first piece of furniture that I looked at, especially for these last two. So the game kind of halts your progress and requires that you catch a few boos before you move on. So you normally would catch 5. And so I'm just going to pull this key out of the toilet, because why wouldn't you? So now I can actually demonstrate what the mirrors actually do. So the mirrors serve as warps that will transport you back to the lobby if you investigate them with your Game Boy. Ironically, the mirror that we're doing next is the mirror room, and this mirror does not you cannot warp using this mirror. So we're going to try and set up for a few doubles with these grabber ghosts later on. So the next 2 pairs, I'm going to try and get them simultaneously. So the gimmick with this room, I don't know if you can see it, is that you can only see their reflections in the mirror, but you can't actually see them. Kind of throwing them off in the wrong direction. That's okay. Okay. Unfortunately, he wasn't in there. That's okay. I went to go split because I normally split here. So I'm going to reset and talk a little bit about what I just did. So essentially what happens is that little thing is called the fire metal. It's a little power-up for your vacuum that lets you spew fire out of it. So we're going to catch this little guy, and I can press L, and I can shoot fire like that. So essentially what you do is if you catch the boo and land on the fire metal at the same time, you can save and quit, and the game treats it as if you picked up the fire metal, and you can just progress with the game like as if you already had it. And so the reason I reset is because there's like several seconds of dialogue that would normally follow if you picked up the fire metal and continued the game normally. So between the dialogue and actually finishing the room, which requires you to light up the candles in the mirror room, I skipped basically all of that by resetting. There we go. So this is Shivers. He's the butler. He's just gonna kind of chase us down the hallway. And so there's a little bit of a time constraint here, because what we want to do is clear the laundry room and still be able to have time to catch him by the time he gets to his room, because he'll go to his room, clean up, and then leave. You might be wondering why Mario's hat is in the laundry. I'll talk about that later. Oop. So we were able to catch Shivers before he despawned, so that's good. These are gems. So the sapphires are worth 500,000 gold. The emeralds are green, they're worth 800,000. And the rubies are worth 1 million. And we'll see one of each kind in the next room. So what I just did there, I'll talk about it once I finish this room. Okay, he's not in there. Which means he's probably in this one. I just want to take these gems before I leave, because I need the money for 100%. So essentially, if you catch a boo and go through that wind tunnel there, it skips a dialogue box, which would normally show up every time you catch a boo. So it saves a little time. There he is. So we're going to make our way up to the music room, and we're going to hear some familiar tunes from the Mario games of yore. Oops. So you might recognize this song now that I've activated all the instruments. And this is Melody. She's going to play us a little song on the piano. So she can play one of two songs. There's this song, which is the first level from Mario 3, and she'll also play the World 2, the underwater music from Mario 1. So all you have to do is say that this is from Mario 3. And she's going to throw sheets of paper at us. Except they're floating sheets of paper, which is spooky, I guess. Okay. Oh, he switched into this cabinet. That's actually really nice. Okay, so that was chest glitch. So essentially what happens is if you're not holding the analog stick in the direction that Luigi is facing towards the chest, he'll try to open it and realize that he can't or something, and he just won't open it. Barely managed to dodge that guy. Oh, whoops. So that was cool. So now that we've kind of vacuumed up this guy's dinner, I want that free money. So that mouse is RNG, whether or not he'll actually spawn in this room. So that's good RNG, I guess, which you normally don't get in a speedrun. So this is the water medal. Unfortunately, I can't do a really cool save and quit like I did with the fire medal. But that's okay, because I have to finish a few things in this room anyway. Oh, well that's not good. Hopefully he'll spawn back in when we come back in here. Okay, so he's still in here, which is... Oh, he's not. Never mind. False alarm. So we'll have to catch him later. We're going to come back to this room a couple times anyway. So... So unfortunately, the dog in Luigi's Mansion isn't as nice as the dog in Scooby-Doo. He's going to kind of lunge at us. So if you catch the skeleton, you get a little treat for the dog. And you catch him. There happens to be a little extra money in this pipe here, so I'm just going to pick it up. I guess the skeletons weren't too happy that Luigi was knocking on their gravestones. So they kind of just showed up. Nice double, I guess. So this is the second boss ghost, Bogmire. So on a good day, you can one-cycle this guy, but it's extremely hard because he will pull against your vacuum and try and break off. So we'll see what happens. Mm-hmm. So essentially the objective of this fight is you catch the dark shadow ones and you'll shoot them at the real one, which is purple. And there we go. We one-cycled him. Nice. Alright, so that was area 2. Not bad. Money count's looking a little low, but I know a few secret places where you can find extra money, so we should be alright. So few small fun facts that I missed during my traversal of the mansion so far. You might have noticed that Luigi will just, it seems like Luigi will just randomly yell out for Mario. So essentially what happens is, if you press A and the game doesn't think you're interacting with an object, the default is Luigi will just call out Mario. And that's going to happen a lot because I'm going to miss like the hitbox for interaction with an object or something. Another thing, a little strategy, is if while I'm catching a ghost, I'll snap the analog stick kind of back and forth, and that speeds up the animation for catching them in the vacuum every now and again. So we're going to mash through this. 19.5 million is good, and especially because we got that extra RNG mouse in the kitchen. So we're going to go look for Area 3. So we're just going to follow our way through here, and it's going to be in the back corner. So we're going to go out into the backyard here, and we're going to grab some water from the fountain, because we'll need that later. So you can water the plants in this game, and they'll sometimes spawn money, or usually money. So we're going to go into the well. And to answer the question, if anybody's wondering why we found Mario's hat in the washing machine, we're about to find out why. Dun dun dun. There he is. With his hat for some reason, even though I guess he has more than one hat. Kind of ironic considering what he's been doing in Mario 64 all this time. Jumping into paintings, now he's stuck in one. So that guy was waiting for me, I guess, to find out the horrific truth of what happened to Mario. So we catch him and grab the key, and we can get out of the well. So a big part of Area 3 is kind of picking up these random items. So I'll roughly translate this to you. It says, you have Mario's letter. We don't get to read it until later on in the run, though. So, gonna catch this guy. So that was a speedy spirit. He'll like show up in random furniture, and if you catch him, you get a lot of money. This is Biff Atlas. He's an optional portrait ghost. But since this is 100%, we have to catch him, even though he's optional in the regular game. So the objective all you have to do is just kind of hit him with these punching bags, which I guess doesn't really make sense because he's a ghost, so shouldn't they pass through him? I don't know. That was pretty good. Nice. So that's a silver diamond. It's worth 2 million, I think. And you get those every time you catch an optional boss ghost. So I exploited the hitbox real quick. So this door would normally be on fire, but I exploited the hitbox, so I put out the fire on my way up. Gonna get an extra 1 million in here. Kind of getting attacked by these haunted dishes. Alright, and so this is going to be our third power-up. This is the ice metal. So now we have all 3 elements, and we can really get to work on this game. It's a little annoying to look for the boo in this room, just because there's a lot of furniture. So we'll see if we can get him. Nice. So if you're wondering why I couldn't catch him, it's because Luigi caught his vacuum on the tablecloth, and you can't catch a boo while you're attached to like a tablecloth or catching something else. So that's a little unfortunate, but at least we got him. So this is Grandma. The objective here is just to shoot all the yarn balls at her. That went surprisingly well. The yarn ball part, just because normally that's a pain. It was a little subtle what was going on, but Luigi will auto-lock onto objects like pearls and hearts that drop on the ground. And so while I was catching that boo, he was actually auto-locking onto the pearls on the other side of the room, which can be problematic. Okay. Doing all right. We're not going to visit this room on the bottom left. Didn't get spooked by the guys hanging from the ceiling, so that was good. Usually they'd spawn in and give me a hard time. Am I missing one? There it is. So this is the Astral Hall. There's going to be a pretty long sequence of ghosts that I have to catch in here We're going to try and get some doubles. There's one. Next, I'm going to get 3 at a time. Not simultaneously. So we're going to catch this guy, and we're going to try and get a double on these two. So up next is Moonshot. So essentially what's going to happen here is Luigi's going to look through the telescope. Looks pretty nice. Got a couple of stars, and there's the moon. So here's where the fun part starts. And by fun, I mean not really if you're going for a good time in this game. So we have to catch these little particles that come down from the sky, and we have to shoot at the moon. Hopefully this works. There we go. Nailed it. And I like to think that Michael Bay had some involvement in programming that part of the game, just because why just blow up the moon? Why not? So, a la Mario 64, Mario Bros. Any game really with stars, kind of pay an homage. We're gonna grab this one. Rough translation, this is Mario's star. Well, it's Luigi's star now, so I don't know about that. I'm going to grab a gold bar in here if it spawns, and it did. So some furniture won't always spawn the same thing. So for example, a poison mushroom might come out of that one. Gonna pick up a little extra money on my way out. So we're gonna work our way back downstairs. Later in the game, you just kind of go up and downstairs a lot, and it's alright. It'll give you some time to take a break between rooms. So up next is the projector room, probably one of my favorite rooms, because if I get this triple in this room, it's pretty satisfying.
Oh, yeah.
So the gimmick in this room is similar to the mirror room. I don't want to get hit by that thing, so I'm just going to let him go for a while. So the gimmick with the projector room is instead of showing up in the mirror, the silhouettes of the ghosts are projected onto the wall behind me. Apparently I despawned one. There he is. Alright. Nice. Alright, so here's the triple. See if I can get it. He usually never hides in there, which is usually weird. Oh, this is long text. So after you catch 15 boos, there's a random chance that EGAD will give you some advice about something in the game that you probably already know by this point. So in the LM community, we call that long text. This is Slim. A lot of people don't like Slim because his gimmick is kind of annoying. So I have to get all 3 of these billiards, and I have to hit him with them, like this. There's one. Okay. There's 2. And there's 3. So Slim is also an optional ghost, so we get an extra 2 million from catching him. So we're gonna warp out of here. So we're gonna make our way back to a familiar area of the mansion, because we never caught any of the boos up in Area 1. So we're gonna go in here and take care of them. More long text. So this is the one room we missed while traversing Area 1. That's because I didn't have the key yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to spin these airplanes here. And we're going to summon the twins, Henry and Orville. And they're going to play hide and seek. Hopefully we don't take too long, because, you know, this is a speed run. I want to get this done and over with. Alright. So I'm going to cheat a little bit. If you use your vacuum on the boxes, you can tell which ones contain the twins. So in this case, it was those two. So now they're going to try and... They're mad because I cheated. So they're going to try and run me over with their vehicles, I guess. Kind of want to grab this. All right. Haven't picked up a Mario item in a while. There's this shoe. If that's what you want to call it. I have no idea what that object is. I guess it's a shoe. So we're going to go in here, and we're going to catch this guy. I'm going to attempt to skip a dialogue box here and see what happens. Okay. Didn't pull the bed sheet off enough. So you can do a dialogue box skip where if you catch a piece of cloth at the same time, right after you catch a boo, it essentially skips the normal EGAD dialogue after catching a boo. And you can do this in both versions of the game, US and JP. So we're going to talk to the fortune teller and get this piece of cheese. So essentially, I'm going to mash through a minute of dialogue. Not a lot of fun, but this gives me a little bit to talk about what's going on here. That's good. So essentially what's happening here is Luigi brings all of the Mario's items to the fortune teller, Madame Clairvoyant, and she essentially gives him a lot of exposition about what's actually happened to Mario. So to sum it up, there's a lot of stuff about Mario's been taken by the ghosts and locked in a painting. And actually, one of these is the letter. I don't know which one it is. That was that one, because I saw the quotation marks in Japanese. So the letter essentially reads, "Look out for booze, Luigi." I don't know why we took time to read that ourselves. I guess it's because it's a speed run, and we'll just have the fortune teller read it for us. The last one is kind of foreshadows a little bit. So the last item, Clairvoyant sees Koopa or Bowser in whatever vision she gets associated with this item. So Bowser has something to do with this, one might think. So that's all the items. I'm done mashing through dialogue for now. And now we catch Clairvoyant. Alright. Okay, he wasn't here. Oh no, he wasn't. He was in here. I got bamboozled. Alright, so one large source of our income in this game is coming up. So we're on our way to deal with it. It wasn't that silver diamond, by the way. There's a little more to this than meets the eye. So I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna catch this guy later, like when I come back. One of Egad's pieces of advice is to water the plants in the game, so we'll water this one. I'll be back to finish that up later. Okay. So this was the guy I dropped earlier. So essentially, if anytime you finish an area or reset the game, the boos will respawn where they were last time if you haven't caught them. So I'm going to need this ice for the next room that we go to, which is the safari room. So normally in the any percent no out of bounds category, it goes a little, you're going a little out of the way if you were to take the fridge. So normally what you'd go is you'd go back to the tea room, which is the room I'm about to walk by, which is through this door, and you'd get the ice out of the little pail in there. But since you're always going back and watering the plant to hopefully get some money later on in the game, I guess whoever was routing this game thought, hey, why not pick up the ice in the fridge on the way up? So really convenient kind of routing there. So this is the safari room. We've got a few ghosts in here we have to get. So these are elemental ghosts. So you usually have to spray them with some kind of element before you can catch them. So what I do is if you spray them before they actually spawn, the game will treat it as if you got canceled out their element. Got an unexpected double there. That's good. He's in the chair. Haven't done that in a while. All right. So we're about to face off against the third boss ghost, which is personally my least favorite, and I'm sure a lot of other LM runners would agree with me that Bulasis is probably their least favorite boss ghost. So we kind of walk in on this ring of boos, which I guess might have been an homage to the circles of boos in Mario World. I don't know. So they start surrounding Luigi and scaring him, I guess. I don't know what this is. So here's the boss fight, and we're gonna see him in just a few seconds. So this is Bulasis. He's essentially this massive conglomerate of 15 boos combined into one. So here's what we do, is we're gonna walk him over here, And we're going to kind of split them up like that. And so now the goal is to freeze all these small boos with ice. And try and catch them. So I think there were 3 left. Okay. So I just kind of grab him with the vacuum like that. Okay, there were 3 left. So this is probably the annoying part of the fight. If there's any residual boos left, they'll just kind of jostle you around like this. So hopefully I can get this done and over with. It's kind of the... There's one. Okay. Since he doesn't have any to merge with, it's just kind of him. And he just kind of charges at you until you catch him. Or until he lets you catch him, that is, I guess. There he is. Took me long enough. Alright. That didn't go... Eh. Alright. Area 3 is not a lot of fun. So glad that's behind me. Alright. So Area 4 is the last one in the game. So now we get to traverse the upstairs region a little bit more. The boos have a lot more health, so it takes a longer time to catch them. There's a lot more RNG involved as to where they're going to go. So we're going to get to see a little taste of that. $42, that's actually really good. Alright, so one more thing. I've kind of brought this up a couple times. We're going to go back and water the plant one more time. And our hard work will have finally paid off. Literally. So this is the legendary gold diamond. There are only 2 of these in the game, and each of them give you 20 million gold each. So it is imperative that we get these for a 100% run where you need 100 million. So we're going to work our way up back upstairs. So Area 4 is really the kind of, I had mentioned earlier, this is the part of the game where you're going up and down the stairs over and over again. So, because the 2 areas of the mansion we haven't explored yet are the top floor and the basement, which are on completely opposite sides vertically. So, just kind of a lot of back and forth at this point in the game. Oh, okay. Going to talk about that menu thing as I'm traversing this next segment of the game. So this is called the blackout. You'll probably find out why in a few seconds. All the lights shut off. Really spooky. So essentially what happens in the blackout is you have to work your way back downstairs to the generator, the backup generator, and turn the lights back on. So this is why I'm talking about, you know, going up and down the stairs over and over again. The only issue is because it's so dark out, the ghosts like to come out and scare you. So we're going to try and spawn as few ghosts as possible as we work our way back. So unfortunately, we can't go right down to the basement and open the door to the breaker room because there's a portrait ghost that's holding that the key to that door hostage. So we're going to go and catch him real quick, and for some reason he happens to be hiding out in the wardrobe room. Oh, yeah. That would have been bad if I accidentally quit. Give him a minute. Oh. So this is RNG, actually, the waiting time for this guy. So unfortunately, we're on the short end of the RNG. There we go. So there's a little phenomenon where if you walk into the room and he already shows his heart, which means you can catch him, and we like to call that instantaneous grim in the LM community, or a handful of us like to. So now that I have the key to the breaker room, we can work our way back down. So the subtle menu changes, or I tried to make them subtle, the second one wasn't really subtle, was I switched to sidestep mode. So the game has two modes of traversal. There's regular mode, which is what I've been using, well, regularly. And so the objective of sidestep mode is Luigi's flashlight will always be locked in a particular direction, and you can move the analog stick without changing the direction of the flashlight. So I let that guy go on purpose. So once you get to this point in the game, the most health you can get out of a boo before they are forced to leave the room is 150 health. So you just kind of, at this point in the game, get as much out of him as you can and then let him go. I knew he was in here. So that boo can be kind of annoying to catch just because there are so many obstacles in this room. And dust piles. The dust piles are kind of the only thing in this game that you'd use a vacuum to clean up in real life. So we're going to work our way all the way back upstairs, I know, and we're going to finish up the third floor. So it might look like I'm just kind of grabbing these fire ghosts from like random candles on the wall, but the game only puts the fire spirits in certain candles on the wall, and I can't get one from every single candle, so I picked up there happens to be one in there, and it's really efficient to just grab fire on your way up, and we're going to be making use of that fire spirit again once we come up near the end of the game. Money count is looking good, I think. Keep in mind I have an extra 800 million. I guess I'm talking to myself here. I have 800 million more than I normally do because of the kitchen mouse. So I'm not too worried about money count right now. So we're gonna spawn a skeleton in the treasure chest here. And we're gonna try and set up for a double here. Alright, so these are the Clockwork Soldiers. This essentially, you're fighting 3 portrait ghosts at the same time, and this is about as complex as it's gonna get with regards to portrait ghosts. So we're gonna try and get purple first. Yeah. So green kind of came up and spoiled the fun. So now I am 1 large pearl short of getting every single one, which should be fine because that balances out with the 800,000. Almost balances out with the 800,000 that I got from the RNG kitchen mouse. So this is why I picked up the fire downstairs, is to deal with this room. There they are. I was wondering where they were. So normally you'd set up for a double there, but one of them decided to go off and punch into thin air, and then into me, which... So there's the key. To the armory, which is the next room we will be visiting. So on my way over, I'm going to try and catch some of these boos on my way over, because we have to catch all of them in 100%. So we're going to look here first and see what happens. Ah. Unfortunately, that wasn't him. Like I said, I can only get 150 health out of this guy at most before he decides to leave. So I managed to get a little bit out of him before he left, so maybe we can 2-cycle this guy. I'm gonna finish him up before I leave. Fortunately, it's usually faster to go back into a room and finish up a boo before, rather than letting him go and hide wherever, because then you have to search the furniture to find him again. So we're going to catch this guy later, and we're going to make our way to the armory. So this is the laggiest room in the game, just because the game has to process all these suits of armor in the room. Gonna set up for a triple here. Kind of went for the double +1, I guess, which is alright. We need to find this guy amongst all the armor, which is usually isn't a lot of fun. I didn't think he'd stick around. That was weird. So we're gonna finish him up. Alright. Haven't gotten a lot of long text, or I just haven't been keeping track. There he is. So this is Jarvis. He's the 4th optional ghost that we're going to catch. Well, not really optional 100%, but optional with regards to completing the game. And so you kind of play this little guessing game with him where he comes out of one of the jars and you have to hit him with the ice. So this happens 5, 6, 7. There he is. So now we can catch him because we won the guessing game. In retrospect, it wasn't really a guessing game because I knew where he was. Let's see if we can find the boo in this room.
It took me until about halfway through that catching sequence to realize why he's named Jarvis.
Nice. Alright, we were able to get a good chunk out of this guy's health. So we're going to try and clean him up on the way back. Optimally, we would have tried to convince him to go back into the armory and we could have caught him there. But instead, we're going to try and get him to go into the clockwork room and we'll catch him there. Alright, so I'm going to catch Clockwork Boo, and then we can catch the boo in this room. I don't remember the name of the room for some reason. Telephone room, that's what it is. You play the game in Japanese long enough, you'll forget what the English names of everything are. We got a good shot at two-cycling this guy, I think. There we go. I guess the other side, if there's any downside at all to playing on Japanese, is you get to miss out on all the boo puns that are. So in the English version, all the names of the boos are some pun on the word boo. So like the projector room boo's name is Shamboo. So this is a sealed room. We're gonna pick up a lot of extra money in here. Not a lot, but there's a lot of money in here. Not bad. Usually if you can't catch a speedy spirit right immediately as he spawns, you've got a hard chance of getting him. There he is. Got caught in the stairs for a minute. Alright, so I'm gonna pick up a little extra money before I leave. So normally if I was attempting for a PB, I wouldn't have picked up the extra speedy spirit in this room. But just for the sake of trying to do a legitimate 100% run, we're gonna pick up everything just in case. So, gotta work our way back down to the basement. and finish up a couple of rooms in here. I'm gonna check and see if the breaker room boo made it back in here. Okay, so that means he's in the pipe room, which we're going to visit next, actually, so it all works out. So kind of paying homage to the origin story of the Mario Brothers being plumbers, we're having Luigi fix this pipe here. Fix the flood, and we can pick up the key. See if we can... The red ones are a little more annoying because they have 20 health. So this boo in here also has 300 health, so we're going to see what we can do with him. This boo is abnormally slow, so you can gouge actually a lot of health out of him before he despawns. Or decides to leave the room. So we've got 5 more left. And he just switched into the box, which is convenient. So that was the breaker room boo that I let go earlier on in the run. So now we're going to make our way down to the cold room and catch another portrait ghost. So every game's got to have like bad ice physics or something. So this is how they managed to shoehorn ice physics into Luigi's Mansion. Just introduce a really cold room with a lot of ice in it. That was pretty good, because I normally don't one-cycle him. Wow. He didn't even give me a chance. So we'll just catch him over here. So I kind of got the impression he was on his way out of there. So I'm going to do another save and quit here. So essentially what that does is I don't have to go all the way back up the stairs. And in addition, I don't have to clean up on all the dust piles on the way up. So we're kind of approaching the home stretch here. We've got a couple more rooms that I missed that I'm going to clean up, and then we can take on King Boo, the final boss. So we've got 2 optional rooms left on the second floor. We got the guest room and we got the sitting room, which I'm about to go into. So this might be kind of loud. Yep. I guess the sound of 6 ghosts spawning at the same time just kind of superimposes onto each other, and you just got this Would have been a little better if I brought him over to this side. That way I could have just opened the door, but that's fine. So this is the last optional boss ghost, Supi. So essentially what we're just going to do here is we're going to try to wake her up by spraying with water here. Get in there. Ah, unfortunately I couldn't leave the room before I spawned the chest, but that's fine. So the reason I have to leave that room is because I forgot to address the fact that it was upside down. Goes to show how long I've played this game. I just kind of think upside down rooms are normal. So we're gonna catch the boo in here, hopefully. And he switched. Huh. Could have sworn that boo was on their way out of there. See if we can figure out where this one is. That one's usually never in the armchair. Kind of threw me off. Alright. Found the long text. Didn't think I was wondering where that went. So we're on our way to the second to last room in the game, which is the artist's was a studio, I think. So we're gonna fight Vincent Van Gogh and his army of haunted paintings. So unfortunately I've been kind of speeding through what plot there really is in this game, but apparently what's been going on is he's been using his ghostly powers to bring paintings to life. So that's why all the portrait ghosts and regular ghosts have been haunting this mansion, and so he's going to kind of demonstrate his magic powers here by summoning these ghosts out of the paintings. So this is my opportunity to show off how many triples I can get. Hopefully I can get them all. Missed one. That tends to happen. Sometimes the flashlight won't catch them all. Getting the grabber on the triple and the grabbers can be kind of annoying. But I managed to get him, so that's good. Nice. So now he's like, ah, my paintings, and I can catch him. So now the key kind of comes out of the treasure chest in the painting. This is kind of a nice touch, I guess. So we got one more boo to catch, and he happens to be in this room. So there's another gold diamond. So the 2 gold diamonds, those are all the ones you can get in the game. So I got them both, so that's good. So there's sometimes in a run there'll be some cruel twist of irony where EGAD will tell you about Vincent Van Gogh right after in the room where you catch him. We call that Van Gogh text, which is the longest random dialogue box that that can be queued up in the game. So we've got everything. Not 100% sure about the money, but I'm pretty confident that I have enough. Alright, so this is, you'll remember this room from way back earlier in the run. This is the room that Luigi was looking into through the well. So I'm going to pick up a little extra money just to be safe. And we're going to take on King Boo. Another kind of hallmark of Mario games is Bowser, you know, the main villain of the Mario franchise. And the game designer's like, hey, how do we put Bowser into this game about spooky ghosts? Well, here you go. They tried their best. And I'm gonna try my best to finish this fight quickly. So, you unfortunately can't one-cycle Bowser like you can Bogmire and Boolossus. If you're really lucky, you can 2-cycle him, but usually I'll go for a fast 3-cycle strategy, so we'll see what happens. So there's Luigi's lighting on fire animation, which I don't think we've really seen through the entirety of the run. We're going to try this again. So there's a hitbox that's actually preventing me from launching the bombs directly at Bowser, which can kind of be annoying. So that's something you try and work around by there we go. So there's King Boo. So we're gonna go for a 3-cycle on this, even though he's displaced past where he usually is. So usually, if you're going for a fast 3, you can get him to stand completely still where he usually is and catch him that way. So we're gonna try and go for the 3. So I'm gonna let him go. So it's analogous kind of to letting Chauncey go at greater than 50 health. I'll let go at King Boo at greater than 200 health, because if you drop him below 200, he does a really slow cycle where he'll like put his head back on backwards and he'll run around the arena for a while. So time's gonna come up real soon. Time. Sub 125 was what I was going for. So, all right. So I don't know how much time I have, but I can we can try and check Luigi the money count, see if this is a legit 100% run, and we can show off Luigi's new mansion that shows up at the end of the credits. So I guess while we're waiting for all of this ending shenanigans to happen, I'd like to thank you all for watching, I guess. Haven't really performed in front of a large group like this before, so I'm having a good time. Thank you for coming to Tora-Thon too. I've been helping organize the event, so kind of obligatory pitch for that. Oh, and I guess thank you to Speedruns Rochester for letting me do this run today. Glad to be here. So we're gonna trap the remaining portrait ghosts back into their paintings. But the thing is, we still gotta figure out something to do with Mario, because as far as I know, he's stuck in the painting, and I don't know if EGAD has some magnificent invention that he can whip up to turn Mario back to normal, but we'll see what happens. Alright, so the money count is gonna come up real soon. There's all 23 portrait ghosts. Ah, we're short by a little over 100,000. It happens. So, that's what happens to Mario. So it turns out, EGAD just runs his ghost painting machine in reverse, and it turns paintings back into whatever was inside it. So we just kind of run Mario through backwards and he's back to normal, I guess.
Mamma mia.
And there he is.
This cutscene is so wholesome. I love it.
I like it. It's funny. It's goofy. So, after this heartwarming moment, we're going to cue the credits. Well, I'm not going to. The game is going to. But so, after the credits roll, we're going to get to see Luigi's new mansion. So, essentially, what happens is they tear down the old one, and whatever money Luigi picks up, he spends to build a brand new one, which is kind of a red flag because you're building a mansion on this haunted hill or something. I don't know. I advise doing against doing that in real life. But unfortunately, since we didn't get 100%, all 100 million, we're gonna get the next best thing, which is rank B. So it's gonna be a slightly smaller mansion than the rank A 100% mansion, but nice to take a good look at it if we have time. Not too long, maybe a couple minute or two. Again, I guess this credits music, I don't know. You can't top Scooby-Doo dubstep, so this is all right. All right, so, oh, they got me with the special thanks. We still got to credit the executive producer, and of course, the obligatory copyright 2001 Nintendo. Oh, all right. So, I present to you. Wait for it. Luigi's new mansion. I think I kind of covered everything during the ending cutscene. So I guess once again, thank you for watching. I had a great time. So